you doing? Vern, I got you good news, and I got you bad news. The bad news is your car is like totally totaled, okay? And the good news is you'll be out in time to see my new movie, Ernest Saves Christmas. Vern, my new movie's got everything. It's got you reindeer, it's got you Santa Claus, it's got you magic bag, Vern. It's even got you poisonous snakes. Gosh, Vern, you sure get awful emotional about Christmas movies. Know what I mean?
Okay, so we all have our go-to Christmas movies. Chances are you've seen A Christmas Story and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation more times than you can count. They're basically part of the holiday itself, like gingerbread and eggnog, and we fire them up every single year. The 1980s were a goldmine for creative and sometimes truly weird holiday films that have been almost totally forgotten. It was a decade where the sappy sincerity of old Hollywood started giving way to a more cynical and sarcastic style, creating a bunch of Christmas movies unlike anything that came before. So today, we're looking at underrated Christmas movies of the 80s you've never heard of. And kicking off our list at number 5 is a made-for-TV movie that feels like a perfect 80s time capsule. 1987's A Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. Now, the biggest reason this movie is such a fascinating artifact is its stars. John Schneider and Tom Wopat, better known to the entire planet as Bo and Luke Duke from The Dukes of Hazzard. The film is about two estranged trucker brothers who couldn't be more different. One's a responsible family man, the other is a reckless free spirit. They have to reluctantly team up for one last job, hauling a truckload of Christmas presents to a struggling town in Alaska that's fallen on hard times.
You drove this truck to Reno? Man, don't you know we're on a tight schedule? Don't you ever think of anything but yourself?
Hey, no, what's happening here?
Lighten up, man. Besides, I think something in your pretty truck might be broken.
The real magic of this movie is its sincerity. It's not a high-concept comedy with a ton of gags. Instead, it's a quiet, character-driven story about family, forgiveness, and community. The chemistry between Schneider and Wopat is obviously great, but here they've traded the General Lee for a big rig and the Yee-Haws for some real sibling drama. The story weaves in a little romance and small-town charm, but it also touches on the very real 80s theme of a community losing its economic footing. If you're tired of cynical holiday movies and just want a heartfelt, grounded story that feels tailor-made for a cozy winter night, this is the one for you. It's a slice of pure, unfiltered 80s wholesomeness. So next up at number 4 is one of the most wonderfully bizarre and star-studded TV movies of the decade, 1986's Babes in Toyland. The plot is a full-on fantasy adventure. It follows an 11-year-old girl from Cincinnati named Lisa Piper, played by a post-E.T. Drew Barrymore. Lisa is a cynical kid who's had to grow up too fast to take care of her family. During a Christmas Eve blizzard, she's magically transported to Toyland, where she has to help save the citizens from the evil Barnaby, played by the legendary Richard Mulligan.
I want to share with you, dear boy, the evil scheme that fills my heart with joy. Its evil theme will never cease, 'cause I have created a monster beast.
To do this, she teams up with her new friend Jack, played by a young, impossibly charming Keanu Reeves. Just let that cast sink in. A movie starring Drew Barrymore, Keanu Reeves, and Pat Morita as a character called the Toy Master. Now this movie is a wild nostalgia trip. It's a full-blown musical with some truly strange and unforgettable songs. Keanu was at the peak of his 80s heartthrob phase, and Drew Barrymore was America's favorite child star. Watching them together in this whimsical, slightly psychedelic world is just a surreal delight. The whole film has this vibrant, almost chaotic energy you just don't see anymore. It's part Christmas special, part fantasy epic, and part fever dream. If you're a fan of 80s pop culture and want to see some future superstars in one of their earliest and weirdest roles, you have to track down Babes in Toyland. Okay, so in our number 3 spot, we're taking a sharp left turn from the whimsical and diving headfirst into glorious 80s cynicism with the 1985 black comedy Better Off Dead. While it's not strictly a Christmas movie, the holiday season is the bleak and hilarious backdrop for the story, and the film nails the decade's irreverent attitude. It stars a young John Cusack as Lane Mayer, a high schooler who gets dumped by his girlfriend right before Christmas. He then spirals into a series of absurd, comically failed attempts to end it all, while dealing with his truly bizarre family and the looming threat of a ski race against his rival. This movie's tone is perfectly set by one of the greatest opening lines in teen comedy history. "I gotta go. The Christmas tree is on fire." That one sentence tells you everything you need to know.
Really fast. If something gets in your way, turn.
This is not your parents' feel-good holiday classic. It's a movie where a paperboy relentlessly stalks the main character for $2. A Japanese exchange student learns English by watching Howard Cosell, and a blob of unidentifiable goo slithers its way off a dinner plate. Better Off Dead is the ultimate anti-Christmas Christmas movie. It flips every trope of the happy, perfect suburban holiday on its head and replaces it with surreal, dark humor. For anyone who finds the forced cheerfulness of the season a little suffocating, this film is a breath of fresh, cynical air. It's a cult classic for a reason. Okay, quick pause. If you've already discovered a new movie you want to watch, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It takes a second and it really helps out the channel. Now, let's get back to the list. Our runner-up for the most underrated Christmas movie of the 80s has a premise so good, it's shocking it's not a beloved classic. 1986's The Christmas Star. Now, the film stars the legendary Ed Asner as Horace McNichol, a brilliant but grumpy counterfeiter who breaks out of prison right before Christmas by disguising himself as a sidewalk Santa. After he stashes his fake cash in the department store donation bin, he tries to get it back, only to be spotted by two kids who are convinced he is the real Santa. They saw him fly during his escape, and they think he needs their help getting his magic money back to the North Pole. Horace, being a career criminal, decides to play along and use the kids to help him pull off one last heist. But as he spends more time with them and sees their unwavering faith in him, his cynical heart starts to melt. What makes this movie so great is Ed Asner's performance. He is absolutely perfect as the grumpy convict who slowly and very reluctantly rediscovers his humanity. Years before, he'd voice another famous curmudgeon in Up or play the iconic Santa in Elf. Asner proved he had already mastered that balance of a gruff exterior with a deep, hidden warmth. The film is a perfect mix of street-smart 80s attitude and genuine holiday spirit. It has action, comedy, and a truly moving story about redemption. For years, this movie was tough to find, but it's now available on Disney+, making it easier than ever to discover this absolute gem. And now, my number one pick for the most underrated Christmas movie of the 1980s is one you might know, but probably don't give enough credit to. 1988's Ernest Saves Christmas. And I know what you're thinking. Ernest, the Know What I Mean Vern guy. Yes, that's exactly who I mean.
Just gonna take this money and put it in First Federal Savings for you, Vern, so your money can make money. Heck, Vern, time don't mean nothing to a pig. Know what I mean? Oh, I wasn't really gonna bust it.
For a whole generation, Jim Varney's Ernest P. Worrell was a cultural icon, starring in commercials and eventually getting his own TV show and a string of movies. And while the character is often dismissed as just silly or lowbrow, Ernest Saves Christmas is a work of surprising charm and real Christmas magic. The plot is genius in its simplicity. Santa Claus is getting old and flies to Florida to find his replacement, a kind-hearted kids show host. But when things go wrong, it's up to the bumbling, accident-prone but endlessly good-natured taxi driver Ernest to help Santa find his successor and save the holiday. The film is a showcase of physical comedy, with Jim Varney giving a performance that is both hilarious and incredibly endearing. His rubber-faced expressions are legendary, but it's the character's relentless optimism and kindness that really makes the movie work. Ernest Saves Christmas perfectly captures the spirit of 80s Christmas movies. It pushed aside the classic Hollywood stars and made an unconventional blue-collar goofball the hero. The film is packed with memorable gags, a surprisingly heartfelt story about passing the torch, and one of the most believable and moving portrayals of Santa Claus ever put on screen. It's funny, it's sweet, and it has more Christmas spirit than a dozen Hallmark movies combined. It deserves to be seen not just as a silly kids movie, but as a legitimate holiday classic. That's my list, and now I want to hear yours. What's the one underrated 80s Christmas movie you think deserves more love? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them, and I'm always looking for new gems to check out. And if you want more deep dives into forgotten movies, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching, and happy holidays.